Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today we are talking summertime dock fishing. It is hot out here, and a few weeks ago we did a video about how to catch bass in the heat. Well, today we're circling back around because in that video we glazed over docks. Today we're talking dock fishing, how to catch them on crankbaits, how to catch them on underspins, slow moving baits on the bottom. We're covering all of it. Now today actually started out with the plan of taking you guys dock fishing, but my boat wasn't working properly. I ended up having to order a really minor part for it, no big deal. I went and borrowed Tim's boat so that I could take you guys out to go dock fishing. When I got out on the water, you ever just have one of those days where it's just not, everything's just not jiving, you're not feeling it. Well, I got one bite, I got the bite I needed, fish over 7 pounds, took me around the back of a piling, came up, head shook, I couldn't put enough pressure on around the piling, and came off. At that point, lost a big fish, my boat not working properly. I thought, you know, maybe today is the day that we just walk through my dock fishing box instead of me beating my head on the wall. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through the specific baits that I have confidence in. I'm going to explain each one of these to you and what it's for, because summer dock fishing can be incredible. You can get monster bites, you can catch a lot of fish, but there are a lot of things that you can throw that just don't work that well. So in that video a couple weeks ago, we went in depth about how bass use shadows in the summertime. I explained that to you guys, showed you examples, caught fish, and we glazed right over docks. So docks are hands down the single best shadow that a bass has that they can use in the summertime for protection and to ambush food. The hotter it gets, it's over 100 right now. The hotter it gets, the deeper into those shadows they go. Now, after I'm done walking you through the box, I'm going to explain how to select the right dock for the job, because not every dock is created equal. So let's talk about the baits first. I'll just walk you from one end of this box to the other. Buzz baits. Now, I only put 2 buzz baits in this box. I put this guy in, slow roller buzz, plastic blade. You guys know that we love that buzz bait. And I'm gonna link everything for you down in the video description. The other one though, is that guy right there. Skirtless buzz. We've talked about that quite a bit already this summer, but the skirtless buzz is in the dock video for one very specific reason. You can skip it. And I don't mean you can sort of skip it. I don't mean that it'll get 2 or 5 or 10 feet up under the dock. I mean, I can skip all the way up under a dock and out the other side and run that buzzbait back through. You can present a buzzbait in places where you can't present any other topwater except a frog. And the buzz is just a completely different look and sound than these fish are used to. When the skirtless buzz became a thing and we realized we could skip them, that is major. Now, on that skirtless buzz, the trailer is this guy right here, River to Sea D-Walker 120. That is my trailer, and the reason why, can you guys see all the teeth marks in this one? It has been chewed up, and it holds up great. So that's what I use for that D-Walker. Did you guys see that blow up? Oh man, we better stop talking. Oh, unfortunately, I'm rigged up with dock stuff. I have nothing to throw at that fish. Well, let's keep going. So I've got D-Walkers and Kitex. We'll circle back to the Kitex. Then I have lipless cranks, specifically the LV 500. This time of year, I'm very, very focused on shad patterns. So ghost minnow, and that's golden shiner, but let's be real, they're both just shad patterns, essentially. Nice profile. We're going to fish that on the bottom. I'm not throwing that up there and burning it. Pitching it up there just like we do in winter. Pitch it up there, lift and drop. Lift and drop. And you'll feel them just, dunk, they'll pick it up. It reverberates so loud on the underside of that dock. It's unbelievable. The fish can't stand it. I think they hit it just to make the sound stop. Next bait, square bills. That River to Sea Biggie is the primary one that I throw. Abalone shad or any of the chrome or ghost colors are going to work. But that Biggie with that loud knocker in it is my number one. Then Tim really prefers the Lucky Craft. He likes the silent. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong. I can just tell you where our confidence is. He likes that silent. And then I put a couple of Six Senses in the box, which I started throwing a lot when we went cross country this year. And actually this one I've never thrown. That's an Azuma, but it looked so good to me I threw it in the box to throw today. I mean, this is literally the box I brought to go dock fishing with you on Tim's boat. This is what I brought to fish with. So I wanted to try that one. Frogs, of course. Only need a couple. The Little Allen, the Bullywattu 65 and Little Allen. And then the Gavacho. I think that's called Strike Gill. I think. But I love both of those frogs. Tons of confidence there. The benefit of the frog, again, just like the buzzbait, you can get it way up under that dock where they're not used to seeing topwater. The square bill, I'm covering water. I can shoot it up under the dock, burn, pause, burn, pause, burn, pause. I can run down the outside edges of pilings. I can go from the outside in. I can take the boat inside. I can go from the inside out. You can throw sideways through them, but you can cover every single piling from multiple angles, and you can do it fast. So if the fish are reacting, if they're aggressive, you can clean up with a square bill. And if you go down a run of docks and you find that one dock had the better fish or had most of the fish, you just circle back around with your slow moving baits and pick that dock apart. So it's a really nice 1-2 punch to start out with all this power fishing and then come back through it, slow down, and really stack up the numbers of fish. Next, got shaky heads. That shaky head, I only brought one worm to throw with it, but I brought it in 2 colors. This is the T-Mac. You guys know from the underwater video Tim did how good that T-Mac works. 2 colors. That guy there. And that one there. And again, I'll link you everything, don't worry. But that giant that I lost today, it was on that one right there. That Junebug T-Mac. Ugh, if she hadn't gone behind that piling, I would have had that fish no problem. But I couldn't put enough pressure on her. It is what it is. So shaky head, then flashy swimmers, which is a weedless underspin. And I pair that up to the Kitech. 4.8 Kitech, 5/0 flashy swimmer. It's weedless, so you can, again, shoot it way up under the docks. You can fish mid-column, you can crawl bottom, whatever you want to do, but it's very, very versatile. Keeps me from having to carry a bunch of different weights of underspin. Just carry the one in a weedless. Then I've got Texas rig stuff, but it's very lightweight Texas rig. We're talking 3/16 ounce, little tiny tungsten weight, 3/16 to a 4/0 hook. And that 4/0 hook, that's a Gamakatsu EWG, but it's not the Superline. Standard wire hook. And I only have one bait that I'm going to throw on it. That right there, Kitech Crazy Flapper. In fact, I have one rigged. Let me show you. There it is, all set up. All that is a unpegged weight. So when I throw it in there, the weight goes to bottom faster than the bait does, and then the bait's going to follow. And that's why I don't want a Superline hook. I want as little weight on that bait as possible. And you separate all the appendages. Hey, would you look at that? I did get bit. I have a missing appendage. Cute. Story of my life today, let me tell you. But seriously, you throw it out, the weight will go down first, and the bait will follow. And once you separate all these appendages, it kicks incredibly. on its way down. I only throw it in 2 colors. This is just the green pumpkin, just straight green pumpkin. And then I throw it in green pumpkin fire, which is like an orange belly on that green pumpkin. Those 2 colors are all I need, and they smash that thing. It's a large profile, but they eat it when they won't eat anything else. And I think it's because it's going so slow on that 3/16 ounce, but it has so much movement. You know, it's all the movement of a bait that's flying by, but it's going so slow, it's just different. They're not used to it. It works unbelievably well. And then last in the box is going to be a finesse jig. Finesse cut, round ball head, smaller hook, and I'm pairing that up with a double tail grub. Again, I'm getting maximum movement out of the double tail, but I'm not having to go to heavy line or heavy gear because that little finesse jig can be fished on my smaller rods. I've got it on that, this is G Loomis, but it's one of the MBR rods, so it's a GLX, but the model is one of the MBRs. It's the 843C MBR. And that guy right there, I'm able to fish it on 12-pound line, no problem. Soft rod, I could probably even go down to 10-pound line. So I get more bites. I get the jig profile, the jig look, the fish catching ability, the big bass catching ability, but I don't have to throw it on that heavy gear, so I get even more bites. Same thing with my shaky head. That shaky head only has a 4/0 hook in it. So I'm able to throw it on 8 to 10 to 12-pound line. No issues whatsoever. So that is the baits. And again, I'll link all of it for you, but let's talk specifically about the docks now. Those are the baits I have confidence in. If I'm going out there to dock fish, that is what I'm using. How do you choose the right dock? How do you know when to dock fish? Well, when to dock fish in the summer is when it's hot. You want high sun. Don't go fish those docks first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon, because as that sun's going down or as it's coming up and you have indirect light, the fish will venture out. They'll go out and they'll feed. But when that sun gets up, those fish will suck right in there and become incredibly predictable. So hotter, higher sun, that's ideal. Now, what makes one dock better than another? I'm not going to say depth, because that number, the depth number, whether it's a 2-foot dock or a 40-foot dock, that's going to vary lake to lake. And unless I'm there with you, I can't answer that for you. I will catch them on this lake. I'll go to one dock that's 3 feet deep and smash them. I'll go to another one that's 15 feet deep and smash them. You go to a deep dock, smash them. It doesn't seem to matter. Depth for me is the last thing I worry about. Instead, what I worry about is the size of the shadow and the position of the dock. So you can just get on a dock line. If you live on a lake that has miles and miles and miles of docks, you can just pick a starting point at random, start fishing, and you will catch fish. But if you want to be the most effective with your time, the way to do it is to choose the docks that stand out, the transitional docks. So if fish are coming or going in and out of an area, the docks that they are most likely to choose. What are those? The docks that stick out the farthest. So if you see a whole run of docks and there's one that comes out longer than all the others, that's your dock. That's a high percentage dock. If there's a run of docks, but it stops, you want the dock at the start and the dock at the end, the first dock. Those are very, very consistent. Now there are times where they won't be. The fish will move into the center. It will happen. But again, we're playing percentages. We're playing odds, because your time on the water is limited and you want to have the most success for that time. Next one that's going to stand out, docks that are out on points. So if you've got a run of docks in a pocket and then it comes around a point, that end dock, that corner point dock, that's your dock. A dock that comes out over deeper water, that's your dock. And then the biggest one, if every dock is the same, but there's one that's wider, it doesn't come out any farther, but it's wider. See, the fish are under those docks for shade, for protection. A wider dock will cast a darker shadow than a narrower dock. So the fish will congregate in the widest shadow. They'll sit right in the blackest part of that shadow. And the black part of a shadow will move throughout the day, right? As the sun comes across, the dark spot under that dock will move. So don't be caught up on figuring out if the fish are on the third piling in. That's going to change. Just start by fishing the dark spot. I'm not going to go any deeper into that portion of it because Tim did a video last year on breaking down a dock and how to approach it very specifically. Which ones to cast to first, which pilings to wait on, how to get the maximum number of fish out of a dock without spooking them. He did an incredible job that I can add nothing to, so I'm not even going to try, but I will link you that video. But again, if you just need a starting point, the blackest part of the shadow is where the biggest fish will typically sit. So the bigger docks, the docks that stick out, the transitional docks at the beginning and end, those are your key players. If you have the ability to just run those docks, you will have a way better day than if you fish all of them. But if you don't have an option, just fish them all. You will find fish. Now, the only other thing I'm going to add to this mix is that if you have a dock that is floating and a dock with pilings that go to the bottom, and nothing else is different, the bass will always go with the one with pilings. There's more structure there, especially largemouth. Largemouth like structure. Given a choice, that hard surface headed all the way to the bottom, they can follow that thing up and down. Now, spotted bass and a smallmouth, they care less than a largemouth, but they still, given a choice, will go with the one with pilings. Now, you'll find them way offshore out on the end of some big marina dock, and they'll be ambushing, but it's because they didn't have the option. That's an amazing spot for them. But if you had the same setup with or without pilings, every time pilings. Now, pilings, not every dock is created equal. The older docks tend to be better, and wood pilings are almost always better than metal pilings. Wood pilings tend to develop a larger ecosystem around them, right? More junk grows on the poles, which in turn has more bugs around it, which in turn has more bait fish around it, which in turn has more bass around it, versus a sterile metal pole, especially a brand new metal pole. So, given that choice, fish the ones with those old wooden posts on them first. You really can just prioritize. You can go down the list, think through your spots, and prioritize which ones should be the best ones. And then, of course, the only other factor is whether or not there's something under that dock. You'll only know that with time. If one has brush under it or a rock pile under it or something like that, that dock will be far superior to all the others, but you'll only know that by getting out there and fishing. Guys, I wish we could have gone out on the water and just slayed a bunch of dockfish. Today was just not my day, but I hope that this information helps you. Again, I'll link all this stuff for you. This is my dock box. This is what I brought to fish with today. I have all the confidence in the world with those baits. You should too. You can go out there, catch these fish while it's still hot. Don't stay home. Go fishing. Have fun. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you soon.